Welcome to Meet the Candidate, and my guest for this session is Dave Lucas, who is running for the State Senate in Legislative District 3. And welcome, Dave.
Well, thank you, Sue Lani. I'm very excited to be here, and I look forward to telling the people a little more about myself.
Yeah, this is just to get acquainted with the kind of conversation you might have stuck in an elevator or something. So
Okay.
Tell me about where you grew up.
So I grew up in a very small town called Colfax, not Colfax, Washington, but Colfax, California.
Ah.
It's very much like Davenport. So every time I drive up to Davenport for a scout meeting or some event, it brings back memories of driving into Colfax. It's a very similar little small community. And so I grew up there, graduated from Colfax Elementary, Colfax High School, again, a very small high school, and a great community to grow up in, a place where you knew everybody, everybody knew you, which can be good or bad, depending on how
yes, it can.
things are going. But really enjoyed that, and ran track and cross country, which really became a passion and carried on later. I ran track in college, and then as I went into the Marine Corps, being a good athlete and a good runner really paid off, and then served almost 22 years in the Marine Corps and retired from that, and really adopted the Marine Corps motto of Semper Fidelis, always faithful, and really carried that through my life to be a really good servant leader of others.
Well, people with a military background, a long-time career, often have some interesting postings. There's some places that you live that gave you insights into the world.
Yeah, it was probably more interesting were deployments than necessarily places we lived. I was never stationed that wasn't a deployment outside the country, but several combat deployments to the Middle East, and getting to see other countries gives you a tremendous appreciation for the blessings that we have here, and everything from the freedoms to the opportunities to even just the sense of altruism, which I found really lacking in a lot of other countries, as you would try to work with them to build up their country, and you ask them to defend people that they may not know, and many times the question was, well, why? What am I getting at? What's in it for me? And that was a really enlightening experience, because it wasn't a perspective that I had. I was always, what can I do to help others? How can I lift others up? And so that was a very enlightening experience, seeing that from the perspective of other countries.
So what brought you to Spokane then at the end of your career?
So at the end of my career, I'll facetiously say a girl, but that's not exactly true. It was two little boys. So as I was getting fairly senior in the Marine Corps, and tended to be gone a lot. And with two little boys at home, that wasn't the ideal situation. So we talked as a family and really decided it was time to change our family dynamic. And so we started looking across the country of where we wanted to be. My wife had gone to Gonzaga, and so we decided this was the place we wanted to put roots down and raise our kids. And it's been a wonderful decision. It is, as everybody who lives here knows, it's an amazing community, and we've really been blessed and enjoyed being here.
Oh. Well, now that you've planted yourself here, are there some volunteer opportunities that you've enjoyed in the community?
So I have. So I mean, that's one of the great blessings of being a retired military officer, is the ability to volunteer. And I've really taken that full-heartedly, and probably working with the youth and with veterans is my passion, but I've been involved in the neighborhood, and really back to that motto of always faithful, of looking for an opportunity wherever it was. So whether it was cutting limbs and sawing and helping people during the windstorm, or most recently during COVID, delivering groceries or medical supplies for people that couldn't get out. As I tell people, if you need something, call me. I'm going to do my very best to either do it, find somebody who can do it, I spent most of the last summer mowing a veteran's lawn up in North Spokane because she couldn't find anybody and she wasn't in a position to pay for it. And the opportunity to do that, I think, is a real blessing. And that is something that just carried with me from being back when I started in Scouts or being in the Marine Corps. That servant leadership has always been very impactful for me. And I found a real passion being able to help others and see them succeed and really support them when I have the ability to do that.
Okay. Well, one of the questions that I skipped past because we got right into your military service was growing up in Colfax, California. Was there a first job that you had that because first jobs shape how we interact with the world, with the economy?
Yeah, it's interesting. So the first job I don't know would be legitimate anymore. So about 10, 11, 12, I was working as a stock boy in a grocery store.
I don't think they let you do that
anymore.
anymore.
They wouldn't let you do it.
No.
And on weekends and, unpacking boxes, putting up shelves. I remember they had one of those little labeling guns, which was the funnest thing that I really enjoyed doing. I remember one time him coming back because he's like, "What are you doing?" Because, I was putting labels on everything. And but that wasn't really probably the first real significant job I had. Was I was worked at a local movie theater and really originally started as a cashier, working popcorn and working in the snack bar, and then ultimately ended up moving where I ran every position and worked that most of the time through my high school years until I left and went away to college. So very impactful, obviously very neat to see the increased level of responsibility to where at the end many times it was show up, I had keys, open it, run it, take care of everything, and put the movie together, build it, which was a fascinating process, run the movie, take tickets. It was the full gamut, and so that was really enjoyable. But that was probably the biggest first responsible job.
I don't know, those jobs that kids used to be able to do at 10, 11, and 12 were really important. We need to figure out how to provide those experiences.
It is. We do it obviously at home with our kids, but it's not the same.
Right.
We certainly have chores and responsibilities and things that they need to get done, but that's not the same as when you go and have to work for somebody else and report to them, and you've got a time schedule and all those lessons that you learn early on, I think really are helpful. I've seen that now working in business here in town, doing different projects working with the youth, of really trying to learn that and mentor them on that path.
Yeah. Is there some particular mentoring work that you're doing along those lines?
Well, probably the biggest thing right now is with Scouts. But for a while, I was managing a business downtown, and so certainly working with a lot of the college students from Gonzaga and Whitworth and SCC and Spokane Falls. Many of those students would apply to work, and so it was an opportunity to mentor them along. But as I mentioned, I love the opportunity to talk to folks, whether it's somebody who comes to Toastmasters and would like some support on the business they're working on, or a youth member who might be trying to decide what they want to do with their life, whether it's school or job-wise, helping people with their finances. I've taught classes on some of the family homeless shelters, trying to help them align their finances. That's another passion that I've enjoyed, helping to see people be successful.
Okay. Well, this is a good time to turn to that last question where you get to have the wrap up and tell people why they should vote for Dave Lucas for State Senator for Legislative District 3.
Well, thank you, Sue Lani. The reason I think that the voters should vote for me in the 3rd District is we have not been served well. Over more than a decade, we've had the same legislators in office, and we continue to vote for things, whether it's our $30 car tabs that we've asked for numerous times, whether it's our property tax reductions that we continue to see, and even now with the special session, sitting on their hands, letting the deficit get worse, not taking action on the things that we need. We can't afford more of this. The economy is struggling, people are struggling. We need somebody who's going to be a real servant leader, someone who's going to serve the people and work for their interests. Again, the 3rd District is the poorest district in the state with the poorest zip code, and nothing's been done about that. It's time for somebody who's going to work for Spokane, not for the West Side, and that's really the reason I think I will make a great senator for Spokane.
Okay, well, thank you for joining us today, Dave, and good luck with your campaign.
Thank you, Sue Lani. I appreciate it, and thanks for having me today. It was really nice.
90 million Christians are eligible to vote.
40 million didn't.
That's 45% of eligible Christians not voting.
We can change that.
We believe We Vote was designed to arm people of faith with information on candidates
And how they line up with biblical and constitutional principles.
It's simply WeBelieveWeVote.com.
We're on a mission to rev up the 2020 election.
Tell your friends, your neighbors, and especially your pastors to rev up.
Be an educated voter.
Arm yourself with truth based on the Word of God.
2020, rev up.
Register, educate, vote.
Rev up.
Rev up.
Rev up 2020.